Oh, it's Mario Brothers. No. Hello? Hello? Super Mario? Hold on, am I an idiot? Guys, help me. What's the original fucking Mario game? Help me. Oh, it's Mario Bros. There we go. Fucking idiot. Okay. Here's the any percent category of Super Mario Brothers. It's 4 minutes long. By Nifsky. You know what I mean? Like, here's Super Mario Brothers. It's 4 minutes and 54 seconds. You can jump through walls. Does developers have any idea what they're doing? You know what I mean? Diablo 2. A game that continued to get patches, multiple patches, throughout the length of the length of it. Okay, in the Hell Sork we don't use it, but in this game, if you close the door on your mercenary, it becomes invisible. The monsters can't see it anymore. And then when you get to Bale's throne room, if you walk in and out of it 6 times, he doesn't spawn monsters. Do the developers have any idea what they're doing? You know what I mean? It's like, just sometimes there's just fucking bugs. And we have developers that are like actively listening to it and like working on it. And like, it's not good enough, but I don't know. You've played plenty of ARPGs with no major bugs on level 1 skills, then you are incorrect. Multiple shot, Diablo 2, Amazon. When you had an odd number of arrows, the second arrow no longer applies any of the bonus damage effects you have on it. Only the rightmost arrow does. That's probably not right. Diablo 2, Sacrifice. Level 1 skill actually changes your melee hit range and doesn't use melee hit range of your weapon, but instead uses its own unique melee hit range, causing the player to do an animation that doesn't hit, and you have to be closer than your melee hit range would naturally be. Diablo 2, skill, level 1, Bash. Bash says it gives you plus flat damage. It doesn't. It just lies to you. Trying to think of the other level 1 skills and the bugs associated with them. Diablo 2, Fire Arrow, level 1 skill, says it gives you attack rating. It doesn't. That's the same for every single one of the arrows that say they give you attack rating, but you get the idea. Diablo 2, level 1 skill, prayer. Prayer grants soft skill point synergy to skills that synergize with it. Not intentional, just a bug. So, like, please recognize that you have created a narrative that is not accurately representative of the universe around you, and potentially use that to reflect on why that narrative is important for you to maintain. Just got your 4th spark. What should you make? It depends on your build. Most people really like Shaco. A lot of people like Starless Skies. So the goalpost, you get it, right, Corpse? I'm spending a lot of time interacting with you here, but you understand why every single time I brought up a point that completely counters what you've done, we've now moved the goalpost, and how, like, you got me moving goalposts here. But I promise you, Path of Exile, Torchlight, Grim Dawn, Titan Quest all have bugs, all on... Well, I mean, Path of Exile doesn't have a level 1 skill. That's not even a thing you can say about it. It has skill gems, but, like, they all do. Like, they all absolutely all have bugs, all in all of those games throughout the entirety of it. And you not being aware of it is not the same thing as them not existing. It is every single video game you've ever played ever. In perpetuity, and will always be that way forever. Diablo can't hit you if you're next to a corner. You know, like... World of Warcraft, you can jump through Stormwind into the underlying texture and run around. It's just like... all of them. In any game that saw any live service at all introduced various bugs that either were or were not fixed. Every single time, every single game. Have you seen the Elder Scrolls series? Have you played Morrowind? Or Oblivion? Or Skyrim? Minesweeper seemed pretty solid at release. I can't speak to Minesweeper. Like, we want to talk about, like, billion-dollar huge development companies that are supposed to be putting out, who are putting out games that are timeless. Go play Fallout or go play the Elder Scrolls series. They are famous for their game-breaking bugs. Famous for them. This is not unique. You are not seeing a snowflake in the universe. It is just how video games are. 39 for 18. 18. Damn, dude. All is a really good dex board. Oh yeah, Minecraft. If you jump while going under a block which would make you duck, you accelerate. You're only ever talking about skills strictly available at level 1 for the ARPGs that you have personally played. Valuable Valuable insight. Okay. Me personally not playing Torchlight and not personally playing Grim Dawn and not personally playing Titan Quest and Path of Exile does not mean that those games do not have bugs there too. You know what I mean? But I'm not agreeing to disagree. I think your point is kind of bad, and I think you should take a step back and really look at it. Because I think you're holding people responsible for a thing that is untrue, and I can understand why that would cause frustration. Mugerf, thank you very much for the follow. What a I don't know how it's supposed to positively impact the outcome of the conversation then. So this is actually cheaper, right? This is 17? 17 for 39. Have you or are you currently doing research in macrobio? I am not. I'm not doing any research. I haven't done research since my undergraduate. And even then, I did a very small amount of research because the grad student I was working under just kind of like ghosted the university and never put me in contact with the professor. So I didn't know who I was collecting data for. And then I didn't get the opportunity to continue that research. No points needed to leave board for an intelligence glyph. $10, $20, $30, $40, or $10, $20, $30, $40. Do you think they should possibly think of some aspects becoming glyphs or skills in the tree? So I don't think that that's a lame question at all. I think one of the most valuable thing that the developers can do, one of the most valuable things that the devs can do right now, is take some aspects that are seen in 100% of builds and using that as a great metric for wrapping that functionality into the skill tree and removing the aspect in its entirety. So a great example of this would be Gore Quills or Hungry Blood on Blood Lance. What Blood Lance says right now is when you hit a target that's already lanced, your lance will shoot through them and potentially hit a target behind them. What if Blood Lance said instead, when you hit a lanced target, either fire a lance at the closest target as opposed to just behind it, or when you fire a blood lance, consume up to 3 blood orbs around you to generate lances which deal 33% of the primary and aim for other targets. Like, one of these aspects needs to go into the functionality of the skill, because the build does not work without it. Did the devs ever say why the necro minions are coded as passives? while druid minions are coded as skills. Did they ever outright say it? No. Part of companions are not to be considered equivalent to minions. They are like quite literally coded differently. Companions are supposed to be a thing you can add on to a druid build to do some stuff. The minions were supposed to be either a standalone build thing that you can do. Now that they've agreed that that should be in the game, originally they didn't. Should be a utility function of your build, or should be sacrificed. Originally, they didn't think that they were a build around. They came around to the concept of them being a build around. But Necromancer minions are supposed to be strictly stronger than and have more of an impact on the outcome of your build than companions are. That's why you don't have a companion Book of the Dead. So they are not meant to be equivalent. But I can't speak to anything else like more specific than that. No, my name Macrobioboy is derived from the fact that I have a degree in microbiology, and macro is an anagram for my name Marco. The reason why all of your minions don't have an activation skill to make them do something is because at least Adam Jackson believes that if you add in the ability to be able to like target and specifically make something attack something, then players would feel the need to have to do that. Which I understand that concept, because people also want minions to be completely AFK, like no thoughts, just minions killing stuff. So you can't really have it both ways. But I disagree with that. And I think that people are playing minions that way, but finding bootleg ways of accomplishing it, which just makes it more frustrating. But they have explained their ideology there. Like, that is not like a secret. You can hear him explain it in my interview with him at BlizzCon. Now, they are also changing. All right, boss. Torchlight skill bugs. I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna go find it. What is like the best resource for original Torchlight? Path of Exile skill bug. It's so you know what? I give up. The insanity of your request. I hope that you can understand the insanity of the request. Go find for me a bug of one of these skills in one of these games I've played which you haven't necessarily played. I will let you know they have bugs. They just do. They just do. There just are these bugs in the games you've played. You just don't know about them. Maybe do some research. It's insane, dude. It speaks to a naivete that like is hard for me to take seriously. And I don't like to be this dismissive, but like they just do. They just do. They do, they exist. You not knowing about them doesn't mean they don't exist. Go do some Googling. I bet you'll find them. Torchlight is from when I was in college. So the original Torchlight came out up to 15 years ago. I'll let you know it had bugs on the original skills you could use. I promise you. I feel fairly confident. I would put money on this. Like most things, our ignorance does not actually define the universe around you, but it is on us to remove ignorance from our understanding of the universe, and not for others to do that for us. It is in assuming that we are wrong that we have the opportunity to grow. The fuck is knocking on my door? Verizon Wireless. Just a seemingly weird level of incompetence. Ah, yes. It must be that people are intentionally failing due to, like, not knowing enough. Man, I think I really hate your outlook. I'm gonna be sincere with you. I think it's, like, shitty and it demands that other people are, like, failing you in some way, which they should not be responsible for. So 21, can I do this more efficiently? What up, Sandy? Ah. Packed for the trip yet? No. Trip's in a week. 22. 22? 22? Can't just any... This is 10, boop boop. No, so that's definitely the most efficient way there. Then this becomes This is 6 points. These two are these points. This one becomes this. So no, it can't be more efficient. Okay. Okay, so that's accurate. 22. Fairly good for an intelligence. It's our best intelligence board. That's probably why I use it. What are the chances of us seeing a witch doctor? I doubt we will see the witch doctor in Diablo 4. If we do, not for a very long time. Your wife has a trip the last week of July, and she's been packed for 2 months. That's pretty rad. Wish I had that power. Minimum activation points. So this one's going to be a little bit different, obviously. I don't think you could do it more efficiently. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 15. I'm also reading chat off Discord or YouTube. It's YouTube. I have a needy lore question if you can ask the devs. I'm not going to go out and just ask random lore questions. They address a new class in theory should not have the Lilith blood petals. Will they address that the new class in theory should not have the Lilith blood petals? It's a pretty good question. So I can think of a couple workarounds. One, the people in Nahantu have been in Nahantu this entire time. We know that people from different cultures do travel. From your player's perspective, having not seen one yet doesn't mean that one was not here. But theoretically, starting as the new class, I assume that there will be a restructuring of the campaign in some way. You know how like in World of Warcraft, like when you played as a Death Knight, you started off in the Citadel rather than like just in a town? So they go with it that way. But it is a good question.
14 months. How goes the demon slaying?
Here we go. 14 months. The demon slaying goes well. Now we're just like min-maxing. Thank you very much for the 14 months. Appreciate you. Builds in the thoughtful discussion here. One question about the minion decrepify bug. A bug that they shouldn't proc decrepify? They should not proc decrepify. No. Your minions do not have lucky hit chance. They very specifically have a bugged interaction with decrepify. That's per the devs. That's not even my best guess. I've asked them, are minions supposed to have lucky hit chance? They say no. Say they proc decrepify. They go, thank you for reporting the bug. Uh, 15. And then points to max out. That doesn't afford me anything. This doesn't afford me anything. Okay. So this is 24 for 70. So here, Cult Leader is significantly better than Bonegraft, Starter, and Blood Begets Blood. But not significant. It's the same as Bloodbath. Is this Diablo's version of Minesweeper? Basically. What's going on, Weed Chunk? Do I think work has begun on Diablo 5? I do not. I have no reason to believe that. I think Diablo 4 is going to be a place of learning of where the fandom of the game and of the genre as a whole has gone. We're also seeing like the most new age ARPGs launched at the same time, and the most people kind of in the ARPG space in like meaningful developments, which is very interesting. I messed up my sensitivity somehow. Well, that's too much. That's not enough. There we go. Bet they moved all their good devs over to 5. That's why we are where we are. I think that's just like a generally shitty thing to say. Like, I think we're having fun being shitty about people like you all don't know. Box, thank you very much for the follow. going to the Spiritborn event? I am. I'm going to be live streaming on the day for the world premiere of the new class. I'm going to be out in Seattle. It'll be me, Rax, Voody, and Fame Regalis. Live from the Xbox Studios in Seattle, Washington. What's the new class? It's called Spiritborn. Here, I'll show you. It's this. This is the new class. They use a double-sided glaive and elemental attack, so kind of like shaman-ish from WoW. Do we have a Spiritborn person yet? Not to my knowledge. I mean, we have people interested in it, obviously. Voodijo. Yeah, a lot of people liked Witch Doctor. This is not Witch Doctor. This is just person based off of aesthetics from Central America. Appreciate all your Diablo. Do you think Diablo 4 will get a place where we can leave out certain skills and get height? Do you think Diablo 4 will get to a place where we can leave out certain skills? Can leave out certain skills and get high damage. I'm not sure what that question means. If you could help me to better understand it. Make them bring that back? No, thank you. I don't really care about the Witch Doctor. No, thank you. This all feels weird. This is definitely too fast. There was somebody on the Reddit that was like, I hope that the Spiritborn does voodoo. I'm like, hey, real quick. Voodoo is an African tradition. It would be cool if the cool characters, slightly based on Central American Mayan civilization, didn't just do other non-white culture shit. That would be cool. That'd be cool for me. Okay, but what about a little bit? What about a poco de voodoo? Been currently trying Rogue, and I want to do just a physical crit build, leaving out crowd control and imbuements, and it just isn't happening. I don't know that I can give you a valuable answer. Would be cool if they had paladins again. Boop, boop, boop. Like, I don't think you can get away from not applying any crowd control at all, because monsters, like, want to hit you, and getting hit is very dangerous to surviving. And I don't think you'll ever be able to play a build that doesn't care about crowd controlling at all. But I don't think you have to do imbuements. What up, Rush? It is done? It is done. What's going on, Boo Boo? What's going on, Freezer? How are you, Ben? Is this the best that I can do? $12, $20. For 2. So yeah, there's not a more efficient way. We're going to bank stream valuable as an Necro player. Thank you for the time. Yeah, no problem, Jason. Thank you. Introduction of new Paragon boards. Will the point system still stay the same by how many points you spend? The introduction of new Paragon boards. Will the point system? I can't see into the future. I see no way. I don't see them moving away from clicking a node and spending a point. What up, Kylie? What is he playing? It looks dumb. I'm playing spreadsheets. Fucking get good. This is a build planner for Diablo 4, and I'm creating a data sheet to help people understand how to min-max going through this progression system. You have upheld your part of the bargain, Rush. I appreciate it. What a loser, powerful. Nah, it's okay. Kylie can be wrong. Why does Diablo hate blood necromancer players? I think that Overpower has been one of the more... Overpower has changed the most significantly throughout the game's history. And every time we make a change, we get like a completely new outlook on like what it means when you do stuff in it. And I think it offers a challenge to them in a way where some classes are far too powerful with it, and the Necromancer just isn't one of them, and it gets the short end of the deal every time. And it's been one of the places where I feel like maybe they don't necessarily have a great answer. My response has been stop nerfing them when they nerf the other stuff for barbs, or maybe buff them when they nerf the other stuff. And like what I legitimately see, because with the Necro we see a lot of bug fixes and number buffing. And what I don't think we see is like vast. We saw like pretty good changes to Bone Prison. Like I think they've done a really good job with Bone Prison. But we don't see as much of are these like kind of transformative changes that we'll see with other like other skills where they'll just put two of the enhancements together and then give you a new modifier to choose from. And I think to me that speaks to, and this is a little bit of copium, but this speaks to a very large overhaul coming in the expansion. So doing much more now, it would be double work. That's kind of what my hope is. Yo, thank you, De Nomine. Appreciate that. Uh, 15 points here. Wait. I don't need to leave the board. Oh. Well, hold on. Right. 21. Okay. 21. Minimum needed to activate was this. But is that accurate? Like, is this not? So it's the same either way. Okay, so it's 15. Minimum points needed to max out the glyph. This sucks. There's no way around this? I guess not. So it's 19 for 39. It's not bad. That's now your best. That's now your best max willpower glyph for 39 points. Yes, it's not better than every other board. What can I say about the new helmet for Bone Sparrow? It'll be stronger than the default one. The new unique amulet is now a must-have for the build, as I understand it. Is it stronger than the helmet? It is probably stronger than the Death Speakers, I believe. Yes. Maybe too early to tell. Do we know if there will be any changes to how tempering works in Diablo for next season? Almost certainly. Yeah. Like we already... Didn't they already say in the live stream that they're adding more temper rolls? Or something? But yes, they are very aware of people being unhappy with tempering, and they are looking for ways to make it better. Yeah, +1 temper roll per greater affix. But so Kaishol, like to the thing that you're saying. The question seems to ultimately boil down to, will I be able to play classes without using the things that they have, instead just having generic multipliers available so that if I don't want to use stuff, I can still get power? And the answer is probably not. Like on a fundamental level, probably not. Because ultimately the developers believe that in incorporating different systems into builds, they are more interesting. And if everything just has a easy to apply generic multiplier, then there's no reason to do the other stuff. And there's no way to really balance the game around that. Where if it's just easier to get multipliers without having to do stuff, then why would builds do this stuff? Most people won't choose to go out of their way to do something less efficient to get a thing when they could just get a thing for not doing it. So I think at like a base level, while there are simpler builds, I don't think that you're just gonna like one day wake up and Diablo 4 says put one skill onto your skill bar, only click that one skill and do as much damage as other people kind of deal. It shouldn't be a role, you should just be able to get what you want. I fundamentally disagree with that, but I think that they can do things to alleviate the bad moments of tempering so that we can enjoy the good moments of tempering and continue to enjoy the fact that crafting has repercussions, as opposed to what we had before, which was no crafting, which everybody said we do want crafting. But right now, the feel bad moments are stronger than the feel good moments, which isn't desirable. But when people say things like, I should just walk up and click the one that I want and just get it, that's not really crafting. And that doesn't positively impact the longevity of a season or the value of items or help to manage item availability in the market. And I don't think is particularly valuable for an ARPG that wants to have an economy and player retention. You prefer increased gold rolls with no caps? Well, we already have that. That's called enchanting. And if tempering was just enchanting, then it should just be enchanting. But I get it. Why can the potion lady craft a Shaco? She is transmuting. And she is an alchemist who are classically known for attempting to transmute things into other things. Thank you for the follow, by the way. That's why the tab says transmute. That's like the whole point of an alchemist in our history. Next. Board. We go from C to F. Flesh Eater. Flesh Eater is interessante. Flesh Eater. Maybe you have a boss that you can farm for a chance for a +1 roll. So the pushback is you already have that. It's called just getting another item, right? Transmutation is materials into other materials, not gear piece. Sure. So, sorry, I forgot the other part, which is it's also a high fantasy video game. That's the other part. Like, how does the lady make potions when all I give her is flowers, but I don't give her a bottle? You know what I mean? Like, I give her everything, but I don't give her the bottle. How does she do it? Pay for the bottle. So we're able to extrapolate how it must work, even though we're not given the exact details. But it can't be. We transmute it. So I will point to also why your blanket statement of transmuting is just materials into materials, and I raise you Full Metal Alchemist. Explain that with your science. Checkmate, atheists. It's anime magic. This is video game magic. Dexterity. Flesh Eater, rare node boosting, very good. Not as strong as Cult Leader. Better than Bone Graft. Magic node boosting is okay. I think it's worse than Starter Board. Okay. Maybe she transmutes the plants into a potion and they're not actually ingredients. I think she's just Full Metal Alchemist. She can also just turn body parts into other body parts. Like, she has historically been able to do this thing. You just like arguing. Body parts still considered materials? They're not. They're considered consumables. Actually. Boss summoning materials show up when you click consumables in your stash search. Checkmate. Even better, it's basically cooking. Pot calling. Oh, I love arguing, no question. Is cheesecake cake or pie? It is cake. I'm pretty sure cheesecake is cake. Oh, okay. It's actually a tort. It is neither. Tort. No, not tortellini. Torts are generally multi-layered desserts and tend to contain not just cake and frosting, but jam, mousse, whipped toppings, or other fillings due to a lack of flour. Torts tend to be denser and heavier than their cake counterparts. They often don't rise as tall. Yeah, cheesecakes are torts. So this is the fastest way. 23 minimum, right? Because there's going the other way doesn't make it. No, it does not. Excuse me. So this is 15. Right? Is that true? Eight. The next one is Dex. Next one is nothing. I would still have to go. Okay. So 15. Got 15. Minimum points to max it out. And here's where it gets interesting, doesn't it? It does not. 1, 2, 3. Or 1, 2, 3. Nope. It does not get interesting, in fact. Does not get interesting at all. Oh. Well, hold on now. No, it does get interesting. Actually, does it? This is 13 points. Doesn't matter. This is the exact same shape. I don't know what cosmic truth I thought I was coming to here. $13. Pretty good min dex though. Wait. No, this is 13. What am I doing here? That's impossible. 23. Holy. Oh, my brain was imploding for a hot second. That doesn't matter. 23, my dude. Do math. A cabinet in every town can magically change the appearance of your hair, tats, armor, weapons. Explain that. Explain that, Atheist. If I wanted to learn what skills proc what paragon and affixes, where would be a good place to find that information? It might be in... and this is gonna like sound dismissive, but it's not going to be. The things tell you exactly what they do, Chris. So, to trigger Flesh Eater, you have to consume a corpse. There are only certain skills which consume corpses, and the skills tell you when they consume corpses. There isn't a place to go to find a total list of all skills which interact with all things. If you could narrow down your question, maybe I can help you in a more valuable way. Like, could you give me an example of a thing that you don't know whether or not they work together? Well, that's the whole game, Kaishol. It's like learning is the game to me. Like, getting the gear doesn't matter because the gear goes away at the end of the season because I don't play Eternal. The only thing that I keep is what I learned. And the new things that I've tried. That's like that's the whole experience for me. Intelligence. This is apparently going to take longer than I thought it would. That's what I get. How you know what's going to work and what's going to suck? So sadly, that doesn't help me to help you in a better way. Like, here's what we do. I read Bone Spear. Bone Spear is a core skill and it's a bone skill. I go read what the bone skills have. They have increased chance of critting. They care about having maximum essence. They want to do vulnerable and crit damage, and they want to crit a lot. So then I go, okay, I probably want to max out crit chance, and I want to have uptime on vulnerable, and this will help me get crit chance. And this cares about how much essence I spend, and helps me with cooldown reduction. So then when I'm looking at my Paragon board, I see what things care about essence. I see what things care about dealing damage with bone skills or critting. I see doing crit damage. So like Essence does crit damage. It gives me a multiplier when I successfully crit. Creature who isn't healthy. So you just kind of read what they say and then read what the other things say that have those same keywords. There isn't like a place to go to see every single thing that interacts with every other single thing. There is read a skill, think it's cool, see what's available on your character to work with it. Using this tool right here, the build planner, is really cool. So like, I want to see what aspects talk about critical. There are a couple things here that work with critical. Okay. Well, I'm a bone build. I'm going to be using Ossified Essence. This says I want to crit on my bone skills. I already want to do that. That's cool. Click it. You know, Grasping Vein says I get a huge crit damage multiplier. That seems pretty good. Gives me crit chance. That seems pretty good. It's just, you just kind of read the stuff. So first, pathing out. Okay, yes, this is just strictly better. It's 24. Ugh. Ugh. When is enough? Most builds nowadays don't want to max out glyphs unless the damage from it is very specifically working with a multiplier that they have. So the Barbarian has a multiplier that says how much crit damage you have multiplies how much damage you do while berserking or something like that. There, the additive crit damage is very valuable. Your build should have thousands of additive crit damage on its gear, so additive damage from your Paragon board is very devalued. Most of the times you only want to hit the minimum investment on glyphs. It's a magic cabinet. I can't. 24. I can't. Minimum points needed to activate the glyph. $15. This is all intelligence. This is 1 point off from intelligence. There can't be more efficient. 1 point intelligence. Nope, that's just less efficient. 1 point off, so I can't get better than here. Going that way doesn't do me anything. Okay, so 15 points. That should be my next spreadsheet. What is the total list of all things which interact with all things? Points to max out glyph. So 1, 2 to get there, or 1, 2 ends up being the same. It just looks ugly. If you don't understand the reasoning behind that, I would highly recommend watching the damage video that I've linked down below. But here's the basic breakdown. If I have 1,000 additive damage and I add on 50 additive damage, you have to figure out how much I've increased how much damage I'm doing by. Because I haven't increased my damage by 50%, right? Because I was already doing plus 1,000. So 1,000 is representative of an 11 times multiplier. This would be representative of 11.5. No. 11.05. Hold on. Yeah. So I go from doing an 11 times multiplier to an 11.05 times multiplier, which is not a particularly large increase. Is it 11.05? 11.05 feels wrong. No, it's 11.5. So no, I gotta do... it's equal to this divided by this. So it's a 4.5% increase in my damage. There's no soft cap. It's just the value of adding into a bucket which already has numbers in it effectively gives you diminishing returns. You will always do more damage. How much you're increasing your damage by is significantly less. So here, this glyph gives me 16 damage to elites, right? It takes 2 points for me to get there. Let's use a different one of these. Control, right? Control says that for each point, I will gain 10 additive damage. That means that I need to spend 7 points to max this out as opposed to hit the minimum. The 7 points here will get me 7 times 9.9. Will give me 69 additive damage. But as you can see from this table, minimum points needed to activate a glyph is 14 points. Right? So 2 times this is roughly how much those points would be worth to me to go spend to go get this. Right? Activating this glyph will give me a 10% damage multiplier. So if I'm already doing 11 times multiplier, this would bring me up to 12.386. This is equivalent to this divided by this, which is a 12.6% increase in my damage. So if I could get 9.9 additive damage out of every point I put in, I can currently outperform a 10% damage multiplier. Now, this is ignoring the main stat that you would get as well, and how that would change. So just ignore that for a hot second. But what if I already had 1200 additive damage, which was a 12 times multiplier, which makes this one a 13 times multiplier. So now I'm very barely outperforming the glyph. Now keep in mind that 10% damage multiplier glyph is also going to give me some amount of additive damage, which kind of comes out in the wash. But at the moment that I'm here, I'm at 1400 damage. Now I'm 0.6% better than the 10% multiplier. And then if you add on the additive damage that you would get from activating that, it's now outperforming it. The issue here is that, and sorry, did I collect this? This was 24 points. 24 for 75. So that's like a lot of additive damage, right, to be outperforming. On my Bone Spirit Necromancer, I have 230. Call this, what, 425. Call it 620. Call it 815 plus the 150 is 900 and whatever. Plus the overpower here. We're up to 1,000. I have another 200 here. So now we're up to 1,200. Additive damage just from my gear. Also add on this, so 1,300. So we're at 1,300 additive damage just from my gear. We have another 148, so we're at 1450. Then we are at another 200 plain overpower, 1650. Then you have to calculate how much overpower damage I would have from maximum life. I forget how much this comes out to be. It's called 1,000. So I'm at 2,400 additive damage, and that's ignoring like mild damage. Now I'm at 2,500, 2,600, almost 2,700. There you go. So that's basically the answer. Is typically getting a glyph not only will get you more additive damage, so it's basically like a wash from the additive damage you would have gained, but getting a new damage multiplier is so efficient, even at a 10% damage multiplier, that you will outperform it often. It's roughly better to get the added damage. It's not that it's better to get the added damage from your gear. You are forced to get damage from your gear in almost every circumstance, because your rings have to have an offensive temper on it. Your weapons have to have an offensive temper on it. Your gloves have to have an offensive temper on it. So you will get additive damage from your gear, as well as additive damage from your Paragon in general. So additive damage is at an all-time low because of how many sources of additive damage there are. And that's ignoring overpower. That already gives you a metric ton of additive damage just from having maximum life. Flesh Eater for willpower. And then there's also like glyphs that give a 20% multiplier, right? Dead Razor gives a 15% damage multiplier. Golem gives a 25% damage multiplier. Control gives a 20% damage multiplier. And then there's legendary nodes. Legendary node gives you 40% damage multiplier, so it's going to be really hard for additive damage to outperform that on average. Not on average, for it to outperform it at all. So, yeah, tempering has skewed so much power onto the gear of the character that like very little else of what we do kind of matters power-wise. That's why we're just looking for unique multipliers in most circumstances. But that's why I'm also collecting what about maxing out a glyph, because who's to say they don't revamp it and that changes. Trying to future-proof this work as best as I can. Uh, 23? Yeah, no problem, man. That's an easy one to answer. I wish every question was that. Oh, it's an easy one to answer. Yeah. And to that point about the exception, while this is a little bit of pedantry, there isn't really an exception to the rule. It is if the node would grant you additive damage, and that's all that it would grant you, then it is of lower value because of how much additive damage we gain. There are circumstances where an additive damage node will do something more than grant you additive damage. Which, those two things are effectively saying the same thing, but the reason why the logic of the statement is important is because it would answer future questions too. So if the statement is, if a node will only grant you additive damage, the benefits of it are measured against your total additive bucket. And then if you then ask the question, what if it does something else? Then the answer must be a different answer. Or at least I would hope that people could intuit that. Maybe that's unfair. Using to get all these chats on? OBS. I got my YouTube activity feed here. And I got my other activity feeds. I'm gonna have to redo this when I move it over here, because it like doesn't, even when you lock them, it like doesn't lock them. Because why? Mater-do. You got me a little burrito? Yep. Thank you, Matos. Thank you. I appreciate it. Girlfriend got me a burrito. Hell yeah. What a bad board. 24, 39. Or you can go 19 for 39 over here. Wait. Yeah, 20. 20 for 39. Not as bad as the starter board, though. Oh, and point for point, it's more efficient than Blood Begets Blood. Because for 4 more points, you only get 15 more stats. Interesting. What do you mean by a brand new Paragon glyph? You're jealous now? I'm also, all I want to be doing is eating this burrito. Single boss fights, does Bone Splinter do more damage than Sever generally? Does Bone Splinter do more damage than Sever generally? I don't know the comparison between those two things, because people currently running Bone Splinter are doing like Bone Spirit Bone Splinter. And that requires you to stand inside of the monster the entire time. And you can't do that. You have to be able to dodge boss mechanics. So I can't properly calculate for you the damage loss from not being able to cast Bone Splinters while I still can cast Bone, or while I can still cast Sever. But yeah, the idea of new glyphs, it's like, okay, I do physical damage and I want to do critical strike. This says crit. Does anything say physical damage? Neither of these increase physical damage. Okay, which ones just say damage? Okay, these ones say damage. Which ones... Can I do this? We're not sophisticated enough. But like, Amplify says I do more damage when I've cursed a target. Okay, that will increase my damage. Exploit says I do damage when I have vulnerable. Okay, I do vulnerable. That gives me damage. Yes, you do new glyphs that relate to the damage that you do. With a good burrito. Yeah, I legitimately don't believe that there's any such thing as a dumb question. I think people just have various levels of knowledge. And it's only in asking questions that you can increase your knowledge and challenge your understandings to come to better understandings. Everybody is new at something at some point in their life. Any idea what their intentions were with Desecrated Ground? Can you make the question less broad? Their intention was to add a unique, high additive damage source, proccable effect to each class to make it so that everything wasn't tied specifically to skill damage and was instead able to be tied to a more ephemeral concept to increase the arena of build diversity. Doesn't it require you to stand in it? You need to be standing in Desecrated Ground for the damage multiplier portion of the glyph Desecration. But you don't have to stand in it. Garm saying cheesecake as a pie is super out of pocket. Get him. Get him. Garm, defend yourself. Oh, what a bad... what a bad glyph. $25. Tart is an open pie? Challenging. It'd be nice if they give us a skill that created up underneath us. They do. Shadow, Blood Wave, and Blood Soaked both do. The only one that doesn't is Sever. Sever is just a sad boy. Nope, you do not have to start a step, just Sever. All the other ones create Desecrated Ground underneath you. Is that blue highlighting function on max roll a new feature did I just never figure out? You hold down shift and it will auto path to the thing. This has always been in the planner. Yeah, no, this is just cheaper. So surprisingly, not that bad as a minimum investment board for decks. Pretty cool. Then, how much required to max it? Also 15. For 29. Also, for Flesh Eater, what was the dex? It's 44. Intelligence. I need to eat this fucking burrito. I'm dying. So that's 23. That's 22. Okay. 22. Minimum needed to activate. It's 15. Eating blackened salmon, very good. Are there abilities or stats fixed that cancel out that the game doesn't tell you or that you know is currently bugged? No. No. None of those things work in that way. Things just ask the question, is it currently applied to the target? When they're seeking to check statuses. As far as I know. It's always a caveat there. Minimum need to max out the glyph. Excuse me. Because I need that to get there. Okay. So that is 24 for 70. Making this not the best option, but consistently there's 24 for 70. Have they mentioned why some passive nodes are capped and some aren't? I think you're seeing them add caps to nodes which were previously uncapped as they continue to look at balance in the game. Caps are a fairly new concept to the game in general, and they are being used as a balance tool. Monstrosity or willpower. Not bad. Pretty good willpower. Huh.
In the case of nuclear or radiological fallout, people living around potential targets such as military bases and chemical plants may be advised to evacuate. Protection from radioactive fallout will require taking shelter in an underground area or in the middle of a large building. Fallout shelters can be any protected space where the walls and roof are thick and dense enough to absorb radiation. The more distance and time you put between you and the fallout particles, the better. Having a disaster kit ready will increase your family's chances of survival.
So it's 22. Minimum points required to activate glyph. This is 14. Not bad. Tied for best willpower minimum. Yo, be good, Kaish. Minimum points needed to max glyph. Can I do this cheaper for a different avenue? No, because I have to go here. I have to get to here. Obviously, this can be here. Not that that really matters. It just looks prettier to me. This would also technically be more valuable. Again, not that it matters, it's just prettier and better. It's a really good example though. use hulking as an example of min-maxing with willpower glyph going from minimum to maximum investment. This would be 21 for 44. So same efficiency as Flesh Eater with a higher max. Worse efficiency than Cult Leader, but with a higher max. More efficient than Bone Graft. More efficient than Bloodbath. More efficient than Blood Begets Blood, but with a lower max. So this beats out Cult Leader for minimum investment to efficiency coefficient, but other than that is your best bang for your buck unless you don't have points. It's cool to think about. I've never really sat down and thought about it like this. You know, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Basically over here I can like put findings. Sam from Critical Role had cancer. That does suck. Hopefully his recovery goes well. Okay, it is 8 p.m. This is longer than I would normally stream. I'm running out of juice in my brain because this actually took a lot longer than I was expecting it to. Once I got into a flow of it, it didn't. It's not that bad, but we still have to do Wither and Scent of Death. So, Scent of Death, Wither. So we have 2 more to go through and do, then to do findings. It's gonna be hard to do for other classes too, but what can you do? All right, boys, girls, NBs, those outside of the binary and its constraints. I think we're gonna go ahead and call it for right now. We're gonna get back to this tomorrow. So we'll finish off the Necromancer and then we'll do our findings on Necromancer. And I think I can make an initial video, which is like min-maxing Paragon board on the Necromancer. And then I can do, hold on, how much better would this look if I did this? It's all the same to me. And then we can start tackling the other classes too. Oh, thanks everybody. Thank you, Entropic. Thank you, Zoso. Yeah, I'm glad people enjoyed it. Let's go find somebody to raid. Boys are playing Last Epoch. Chronix is playing Last Epoch. Let's go check out Chronix's stream. Thank you everybody who watched. Thank you for the likes on YouTube. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Chronix. Here you go, Bobo. New season just started? Yeah. I wish I liked Last Epoch more. I'll give it another shot soon-ish. I at least enjoyed the play of it. But yeah, all right, let's go give Chronix some love. All right, everybody. As always, auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, arrivederci, sayonara, so long, ciao, kaku, krap, sawadee, guten Abend, gute Nacht, hasta mañana. We'll see you all again. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now.